So it's sort of a 3 or 4 step process. So you want to look at the fund on something like TrustNet, and then there'll be a graph that comes up. There'll be 2 lines. One's you, one's the average. And there's sort of the benchmark that's been given. And often that benchmark isn't a great benchmark to compare it to. So on that sheet, I'm going to look at the costs. So I want to compare the costs versus what are all the other costs of funds that I could be in. And then I want to look at returns. So if I go down then to the bottom of the page, there's a pie chart. And in that pie chart, if I added up the amount of equities, let's say it was 40% equities in the fund, I'd compare that against the Vanguard Life Strategy 40%. If there were 60% funds, I'd compare it against the 60, 80 against the 80 and so forth. If you're a bit between, you can just estimate the difference between the two. And that's going to give you an idea of what has the market done, which is the Vanguard, versus what you've done. And if you look at a Vanguard fund, let's say it's costing you 0.2% for the fund alone, your work pension, what's it costing you? Has it under or overperformed? I think that's a really good acid test to see how you're doing.
You think the benchmarks they use might be a bit not amazing? It's why I have tea here. Use my benchmark, makes me look great.
The cheek of
Good morning, mate. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, I do, because, so often I see that one benchmark that's chosen is pension specialist, and I don't even really know what that benchmark means. And I don't know how those benchmarks get put on.
Rather than going, here's a gold standard fund, like a Vanguard fund, which most people would say is low cost and tracks the market very well. So it's a fair representation of the stock market. So if they've got a fund, you mentioned life strategy funds, if they've got a 60-40 fund that's 60% equities, 40% bonds, it achieves that mix well. They're picking some other thing to track, and maybe that's because it's a bit more flattering. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know what the motivations are, but I think you just need to look behind that against the first impression that you see. And if the fund is more expensive and performing better, you want to do a price adjusted return, so you can see after all the costs and charges, how would I have weathered and what are the benefits of the extra costs.
This was a clip from our episode with Lisa Conway-Hughes, financial advisor. We talked about small changes you can make to make a big difference in your life. Check out the full episode right here.